When you think of AI breakthroughs, what recent AI breakthrough comes to your mind? You might think of ChatGPT, DeepSeek, but I might suggest that there is another answer. And to tell you what the answer is, I have to tell you a little bit of a story. Let's go to that story. The story starts with Geoffrey Hinton. Geoffrey Hinton was one of the leading scientists who wrote research papers in the 1970s, 80s and 90s about neural networks. Neural networks were so uncommon and seen as not very promising. In fact, he had to take out the phrase neural networks from his papers in order to be accepted. But then neural networks started showing progress around 2010. That's when Google decided that they will want Geoffrey Hinton's services. They wanted to hire him. But then Geoffrey also had 2 interns with him, lowly paid interns with him, and he wanted to put these 3 together as a unit. He constructed a company called DNN Research. Google, Microsoft, Baidu, others bid for it, and eventually Google won it with a prize of $44 million. So Geoffrey Hinton joined Google, and then Google started integrating AI into all of its products like Google Maps, Google Translate, Google Photos, Google Search, and so on. But then, this was 2012, 2013, they didn't have enough AI, they wanted more AI. So they decided to go and buy a company in UK. This company, to go to UK, because Geoffrey Hinton has a back problem, they had to take this med-evacuation plane and go all the way to UK where he could lie down. And then they met this company called DeepMind. You may have heard of them. At that time, Demis Hassabis was the CEO of DeepMind. He was essentially using AI to play games. To play games like Atari games like this bat and ball game here. And while he was doing, his entire goal was to first solve for intelligence and then solve every other problem in the world through intelligence. Eventually, Google decided to buy this company for £400 million. This company had 0 revenues, £400 million, and again people started talking about how Google spends so much money on things like AI, wastes its money on AI. So Google decided to prove that this AI thing really works. So in 2015, they invited the Google DeepMind people to come and work on Google's data centers. Now Google's data centers already were consuming 1% of the world's electricity. So the idea of reducing electricity consumption or making the electricity consumption more efficient was very important to Google. It was a very big deal. So the researchers at Google DeepMind worked on this problem for about 12 weeks, and they were able to reduce the overall electricity consumption by 15% just by optimizing the processes that they were running, compute they were running, through a technique called deep reinforcement learning. But then Google did not stop there, DeepMind did not stop there, and that's really my punchline in terms of what is the biggest breakthrough, recent breakthrough of AI. They ended up releasing the 3-dimensional structures of 200 million proteins 3 years ago. They open sourced this. This was a very important problem that had been vexing scientists for 50 plus years. Just think about a protein. A protein is a very tiny molecule which can't be seen by human eye. You need X-ray crystallography to see it, and to just find out the 3-dimensional structure of one protein, it takes one PhD, their full PhD, and $200,000. Now Google decided to solve this problem in a different way. You give the amino acid sequence, and they would predict a 3-dimensional structure with the accuracy of about 1 angstrom. And not only did they solve this 50-year grand challenge, they decided to give it away for free to the world. And that is really why it is such an important breakthrough. Today, every major lab in the world that's working on any of life's molecules is using AlphaFold, the system that Google DeepMind provided. And the Nobel Committee actually recognized this. And November last year, the Nobel Committee gave the Nobel Physics Prize to Geoffrey Hinton and the Nobel Prize in Chemistry to Demis Hassabis. And that's why I believe that the age of AI has begun. And it's going to shape not just chemistry and life sciences, it's going to shape every industry. It's going to be bigger than the internet, mobile and the cloud revolutions combined. Let's unpack what's going on in this space. Let me give you a sneak preview into what is evolving and how it is evolving. Just 2 years ago, so long back, we were in this era of pre-training, which is about building like ChatGPT, which is about building models that are really smart, like a high school student, have good knowledge, can spit out content, can give you answers, can summarize things. Like just 2 years back, this was magic, right? But then we have moved to what is called as reasoning and planning. From high school, we have moved to the status of a university graduate that can not just give you good answers and demonstrate knowledge, but can think deeper, do mathematics, can understand a domain more deeply, can reason and plan. This is a big shift. And then in 2025, just this year, we're moving into what are called as AI agents. This is where I graduated from high school, then college, and now becoming a working professional. Can these agents work with us, navigate the world around us, navigate the physical world, the world of software, and get things done? That's really what's happened in the last 3 years. And let me unpack it a little bit more detail to give you the full story of this. The first section is about knowledge retrieval, right, in 2023. This is the world of pre-training, where you give enormous amounts of data and compute, and this system learns everything and has the knowledge of the world. It has a compressed knowledge of the world, and it's able to give you answers very, very quickly.